Ukraine, new world order.
Russia.
The tensions continue, Basil, and the drama.
Oh my gosh.
The movie that is Ukraine versus Russia continues to play out. And
can I start out? You've got a wonderful clip and some stories to go through. It's not easy, Gonz.
No.
You know this, but just so everybody else out there knows, it is not easy to find any information or articles about the Ukraine-Russia thing that literally isn't just a repeat of Zelensky wants more guns. Zelensky asks U.S. for guns. Zelensky asks the UN for guns. It's just article after article of this guy asking for guns. They can't find anything more interesting.
There was one headline.
Says.
There was one headline I saw that was like, "Oh no, Kiev expecting another Russia attack. They're going to run out of artillery. Like, it'll be the last time they'll be able to defend themselves."
If we were live streaming and just every episode we just start out by asking people for guns, like we would be put on so many lists. I don't know what it is with this guy.
We're probably already on the FBI.
Yeah, we'd be on more lists.
But more lists. A lot going on. Hard to parse out exactly what's happening. Zelensky met with the EU last Friday, I believe. Got some footage of that. But there was a sit-down with Al Jazeera that Zelensky did. It was published this morning, at least out here in the West. And, it was a 4 or 5 minute thing. I clipped it down to a minute here because the interviewer asks Zelensky what an actual solution would look like.
There would be some specific agreements that will make...
This is the translator, by the way. I made the point before, too, Basil. He speaks understandable English. I don't know why he doesn't...
Zelensky.
Zelensky,
Yeah, and I mean, this is an opportunity to kind of bring it up. Putin also knows perfect English, but it's sort of a nationalist type of thing to not speak English, to always use a translator.
Especially in media.
So I imagine with the proximity of Zelensky and Putin in Russia and Ukraine that it's kind of a cultural thing. It's like, yeah, we know English, but like we're not going to speak the language of the West for whatever.
Right.
So that it's one thing that Zelensky and Putin kind of have in common.
Right. Okay. So this is the interpreter interpreting the answer to the question about what kind of solutions or what a solution would look like.
There would be some specific agreements that will make sure that Russia will clearly not want to violate our sovereignty and territorial integrity, not launch any other invasion against Ukraine. We are ready to be a non-bloc state. We were a non-bloc country, non-aligned country. Other countries would be ready to guarantee our security. There's some rules, and in addition to weapons, in addition to their personal protection, there is also sanctions. So it all means that if there will be an attack against Ukraine by any country, these states, the security guarantors, will be defending us. Why are we talking about Russia as a possible security guarantor? Why? Because Russia should have a legal responsibility, because if they wouldn't be there, they wouldn't be held liable. This is what we want. This is what Russia wants. And frankly speaking, if they wouldn't be dealing with their domestic victories, we would be able to reach an agreement at this point.
Wow,
sorry, I had the bell ready for
spot.
I had the bell ready, and I got completely distracted here with my daughter coming in. But a couple things. The footage shows the meeting between Zelensky and Ursula, the president of the EU. We'll get into that in a minute here, and it also shows Boris Johnson walking around Ukraine with
hilarious
with Zelensky. Zelensky's always got this I'm just a guy, just casual guy.
He's got his tight T-shirt on, his tight olive drab T-shirt, kind of usually wearing some heavy military boots and some cargo pants.
Yep.
And then to have Boris Johnson, his wig flying in the air, and
he's pointing at something. Look at this over there. Look at that. What is that?
That's his go-to move every single time. Just like point and mumble, point and mumble.
Look at that. Well, how's
very
that?
effective.
How's that? Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting was the Zelensky mentioning having Russia being a possible security guarantor, as
right.
To make it, like, hey, you should be part of defending us against any other nation that tries to attack us or whatever. So interesting moves.
Which is it's a really interesting aspect of the whole thing, because they're talking about what would it take to have peace or whatever, to negotiate some sort of agreement, and to make the request that, like, okay, you stop killing us or whatever is happening here, and also you protect us. That sounds good to me. Okay, I think we can agree on that. But what would be in it for Putin at that point? I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, he can flex his military might, I suppose.
Right. Well, maybe he just wants, maybe there's a weird thing. He just wants to be Ukraine's daddy. He's
that's the thing.
I'll take care of you.
The whole Ukraine thing is so weird because they are sort of playing both sides of the whole thing. I mean, obviously, to us in the West, it's all Russia bad. But there's kind of that, like, the door left open of, like, hey, Putin, if you want to be our daddy, then we're down. We're open to that. We're open for business. So the clips coming out of Kiev and what was the other place where the EU, Ursula von der Leyen, and the other fellow here, what's the other guy's name? I forget. Let's see. European Commissioner, Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell in Kiev. So they met in Kiev. And I don't know if you've seen this, Basil. I think you have, actually, because we kind of talked about it beforehand. The whole day is documented. Typical politicians, world leaders meeting, friendly exchange. But there's a whole scene where they go walk around, I guess Kiev, and I guess it's Bucha, and van der Leyen is wearing, they got the vests on. She's got an umbrella for some reason. I don't know if it was raining or not. Just surrounded by soldiers with guns, right?
Yeah.
And
you got to watch out for snipers.
Yeah. And just the virtue signaling is amazing here. They're walking around, they're looking at stuff, and then a whole, I don't know, display of, tragedy, I guess, Ukrainian tragedy.
The bodies.
The bodies.
You're talking about the
yes.
bodies.
Yes. There is a row of dead bodies covered in plastic, or the black plastic bags on the floor.
And there's this moment where she sort of like turns and is like caught by surprise, like, oh, goodness gracious. Right. She kind of clutches her pearls or whatever. And it's a beautifully done piece of propaganda.
Oh, the PR is amazing. You got cameramen
they
everywhere.
didn't stumble upon some bodies accidentally.
I know. Just what a weird. That's such a. I don't know. Is it maybe it's a cultural barrier thing or something where it's like, come, let me show you the dead bodies. Like, what? That is such a bizarre thing. And I mean, what other reason other than some kind of media stunt?
Oh, it's of course just a media stunt. It's PR, and it's setting the stage for whatever she does next. Whatever decision she decides to get the UN involved with is
EU, yeah.
EU is painted on the canvas of I went there, I saw the bodies. Right. And if you didn't know that I did that, you can see it on YouTube. I'll send you a link. The moment when I saw the bodies.
Yes.
Totally on accident. And I was very affected. So now I am making these emotional decisions to go to war or whatever she's going to do. It remains to be seen.
There's a whole, again, scene filmed where she's lighting candles for the soldiers and whatnot, and doing a whole ritual, paying homage or whatever. So it's, anytime politicians do this, you got to know it's part of the propaganda. That's part of
yes. The theater is very well executed at this point.
Very much so.
And it's just when they put this much energy into the theater, you know that new things are going to happen.